Tamika Rose was used to fighting for herself. Raised on the south side of Milwaukee by her grandmother, she had learned early how to stand tall without leaning on anyone. Life wasn't always fair, and being a proud, educated black woman in a white male-dominated legal field meant fairness often came last. But Tamika didn't bend. She became a family court advocate, defending vulnerable mothers and children from being erased by a system that too often favored money and power. That's how she met Matthew Kessler, a wealthy white tech entrepreneur with perfect teeth, perfect posture, and a surgically precise smile that never reached his eyes. He walked into the courtroom with the arrogance of someone who had never been told no. He was trying to strip custody from his ex-wife, Erica, a struggling biracial woman with anxiety, who had once worked 2 jobs just to buy school supplies for their 6-year-old daughter, Zoe. Tamika didn't expect Matthew to be different, but she also didn't expect him to be this vicious. From day one, his strategy was clear: paint Erica as unstable, unfit, and hysterical. And the judge, an old white man who had golfed with Matthew's lawyer, was listening a little too eagerly. But Tamika had seen these games before. She gathered evidence, found receipts proving Erica had always attended therapy, had never missed child support payments, and had Zoe enrolled in a quality public school. Tamika stood her ground in court. Still, Matthew stared at her like she was just background noise, like her words didn't matter because her skin told him all he needed to know. "You people always think emotion is evidence," he once muttered loud enough for her to hear outside the courtroom. That night, Tamika sat alone in her car, hands shaking, not because of the insult, she'd heard worse, but because she feared Zoe would be taken from her mother. The system was slow to recognize subtle cruelty. Then something changed. Late one night, Erica forwarded Tamika a private audio recording Zoe had secretly taken on her tablet during one of her weekend visits. In it, Matthew berated the child for wetting the bed, calling her weak, like your mother. You could hear the fear in Zoe's tiny voice. Then a chilling silence. Tamika knew this was their turning point, but they had to play it carefully. She filed an emergency motion to present new evidence. The judge tried to dismiss it as irrelevant until Tamika, calm and unwavering, played the recording aloud in court. The room changed. The smile dropped from Matthew's face. For the first time, the power shifted. He told her she was a mistake, Tamika said slowly, her eyes locked on the judge. That's not parenting. That's emotional abuse. The courtroom went silent. Matthew's lawyer tried to object, but the judge, stiff now, suddenly aware of the weight of his past leniency, ordered a recess. The next day, custody was reversed. Erica gained full rights. Matthew's visitation was reduced to supervised sessions at a family center. Tamika walked out with Erica and Zoe, both of whom clung to her like she was family, and in many ways, she was. But the fight didn't end there. 3 weeks later, Tamika received a subpoena. Matthew was suing her for defamation and emotional distress. He claimed she had intentionally damaged his reputation. It was absurd, but dangerous. This was his final attempt to silence her. So Tamika countered, publicly. She filed a cross-claim, citing her right as an advocate to report abuse, and accusing Matthew of retaliation. The courtroom this time wasn't family court, it was civil court. And this time, the world was watching. Local news stations picked up the case. Tamika stood on live television, defending not just herself, but every black woman who had ever been told she was too loud, too angry, too difficult. During cross-examination, Matthew tried to rattle her. "You're not a mother," he sneered. "You don't know what that child needed." Tamika didn't blink. "You're right. I'm not a mother, but I listened to one, and I listened to Zoe, and unlike you, I heard the fear in her voice." The courtroom shifted again. She won. Not only was Matthew's case dismissed, but Tamika was awarded damages for harassment, and the judge issued a public reprimand to Matthew's legal team. The verdict sent ripples through the legal world. Months later, Tamika was offered a partnership at her firm. She turned it down. Instead, she opened her own advocacy nonprofit, Truth Carried, to defend the stories of women and children in vulnerable custody battles, especially women of color. Erica became her first board member. Zoe called her auntie now. As for Matthew, he vanished from the public eye. His tech company now under quiet investigation for financial misconduct. But Tamika didn't care about that anymore. What mattered was this: a black woman stood tall in a courtroom where she was meant to be silent. And she didn't just survive. She won.